I have so many ideas to help you fill up your Christmas junk journal. So if you like variety, join me on this festive journey of Christmas junk journal ideas. I'm going to do a new video each day for the next 10 days or so. And the ideas I'm going to share with you, you'll be able to make in a day. So none of them are big projects. For day one, we're making these Christmas dictionary word labels. I'm going to start off with this one because it's nice and easy and it's a classic. That means it's neutral and it will go with any papers or theme you have going on. Have a look at all the ideas. I've got 11 ideas to show you how to use these sheets. To get this free printable and follow along, head on over to my website. I've put the link in the description box below. And before I move on, here's a sneak peek at tomorrow's make. Now just a little bit about the printing. And if you're a beginner, I've got some tips to help you out with what paper you could print this on. If you haven't got a colour printer, this is what it would look like if you just used your black printer on white paper. And then all you got to do is team it with some fussy cut images off a printable or out of a magazine. For best results and best colour, I find this matte presentation paper gives a really beautiful, rich colour. If you want this just as something to glue into your junk journal, just print it out on the normal copy paper. But if you want to use it as a tag, print it out on 200 or 250 GSM cardstock. Any better quality paper is going to work to get a better colour. So if you haven't had good results from your normal copy paper, that is why. You'll always get a better result from a better quality paper. Now there's two outlines around these labels. You all know how to cut out, so you can either use your scissors or a craft knife and a ruler. I'm just cutting a straight edge around all sides of these labels. If you've got any distress ink, just ink the edges. That always makes them look a lot better. The colour I'm using is Vintage Photo. So that's done. Right now I'm going to give you some tearing tips. Now you're probably thinking, why would I need a tearing tip? I know how to tear. But you may not know this. Take two rulers. The one on the left is my 𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗁 centre measurement ruler. See how thick it is compared to my steel ruler? That's very thin. So I'm going to tear using these rulers. I just put my ruler down on the edge of my label and I'm going to tear using the steel ruler. Now I'm going to put my 𝗵𝗿𝗁𝗁 ruler down, put the thick side down the edge of your label and tear that sheet off. Look at the difference. So if you've got a thick ruler and a thin ruler, depending on how jagged you want your torn edges, use one or the other. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how cool it looks combining the two. So I'm just going to finish tearing off this one using the thick ruler and then just distressing the sides. This one is the copy paper, by the way. Now this is where I'm going to show you how to do a combination of the two rulers. So now I'm going to use my thin steel ruler. I'm going to tear this one off. See down either side of this piece, I've used the thicker ruler and the edges are really jagged. So now I've got the real jagged ends at the end and the not so jagged edges on the sides. So try it. Now for this idea, I'm going to make some double-sided swing tags. Just print your label on one side of your cardstock and print your background on the back side. If you don't want to print a background, just leave it blank. And on the second sheet, I've printed out some clip art. And I'm going to fussy cut them out with this little ring at the top. On the back side of the clip art, I've printed out a background print. So you've got your label printed. Once you've cut it out, just distress ink the edges on both sides. Because this is going to be used as a swing tag, you want both sides to look nice. Now, if you don't use a printable for this part of your swing tag, you can use any clip art. You can use something that you've cut out of a magazine and glue it onto a piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to fussy cut this little sheep here. So across the top, I want somewhere where I can hang this off my tag. So I'm just going to draw a pencil line here, and then I'm drawing a circle. Now that circle is where I'm going to punch my hole right in the center. And that's a 1/8 of an inch Fiskars hole punch. So then I fussy cut all the way around my clip art, including that circle at the top. And I just rub away my pencil lines. I'm going to use this candy cane butcher's twine and thread that through my hole and then tie that on the bottom of my Christmas label. And that's that one done. Now, if you don't want to fussy cut or you haven't got anything to fussy cut, try something like this. I found these gorgeous little angels in my mum's stash. I'm not sure what she would have used them for, but I used the red ink around the edge and I just tied this little angel off the end. And I love this. I think this one looks adorable. And here's how I used it in my journal. This one I put sideways on the top of the page and I just used a gold paper clip and the little angel just hangs out the side here. Big shout out to 𝗞𝗶𝗀𝗀 for making me this beautiful Christmas journal. I love it. Thank you very much, 𝗞𝗶𝗀𝗀. This one couldn't be easier. I went through Mum's stash and she absolutely loved Christmas. She has so much Christmas stuff. So I pulled out these little tinsely pieces. All I'm going to do is staple it onto my label. And that is it. I've got the back printed. I can tuck this in a pocket or I can glue it straight down on a page. This idea is using Christy Art Design again, and this time I'm using her 87 Classic Christmas, and this one is a fussy cut sheet. So I've fussy cut a few out already, and my labels fit on this perfectly. So I just glued it down. But before I go on, I thought the mistletoe label looked a bit blank up in the top right-hand corner here. So I saw this idea on one of my mum's cards. So I'm just going to poke a little hole in the corner and I'm putting 3 of the smallest little red dome brads in the corner, in a little cluster as if they were berries. So if you've got some of these tiny little round brads, use them because they look great, red or gold. And if you haven't got any brads, use your stickles. This is candy cane and it is so pretty. This is another very easy one. This is a little star that my mum made using the stickers. These are gold stars that she's put on a piece of cardstock, cut around the edge, and they are ready to use as an embellishment. You just glue them down over the corner or the end of your label. And that looks so effective. This one I'm going to embellish with a fussy cut and some stickles. I'm using the clip art from Christy Art Design, and I'm just gluing that straight down on the front of the label. The Santa, I'm going to leave him hanging over the edge. The little sheep, I'm going to glue him down And the tiny, tiny little bit that's hanging over the top and the bottom, I'm going to cut that off. Then I get the candy cane stickles and just put that around the ribbon part of the little present here. Now what I do so that I don't put it on too thick is I just put a little bit of it there, and then I use quite a heavy needle and I just spread it out. And that just makes it look a lot better. Now here's another one where you can use up your ATC card papers or your tiny little scraps. It's a little bit heavier than paper, but it's not quite cardstock. So I'm going to use this sheet here, and again it fits these labels perfectly. I'm going to cut a bit off the bottom, so it's just giving me that background, and it's just made my label a little bit bigger. And this is what I mean by this ATC pad is so good. If you've got little pads like this, go through them, because look at these tiny little images. They are perfect to cut out and put on these labels. And this paper pad is Memories in the Making 6512. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you can still get them because it was in Mum's stash. I don't know how old this is. Now here's some more goodies from my mum's stash. These are the shaped vellum swing tags. And I particularly like this little green one here. It already had the green string on it. So all I have to do is punch a hole in my label and thread the string through and tie it on. So if you haven't got any string, just use a bulb pin. Then I'm just going to use the stars off this sticker sheet and randomly put stars all over the label. And that one is so easy to make as well. This one here, it's nothing new. This was just a tiny sheet of paper that was in my Christmas bundle from Marthy. So I'm just cutting around this vintage looking gingerbread man because he's going to look great on the gingerbread label. So I stick him on that label, and then I stick that label on a background card, but this time I made it like a pocket. So I can put anything in the pocket, and then if I glue that background into my journal, I can make it as a second pocket. So I thought I'd better show you what the black and white label looks like. So I've just glued the black and white label onto a printed cardstock, put a little corrugated Christmas tree on the front, and instead of putting a star on the top of the tree, I just put a tiny little dot, because when I put a star on it, it just looked silly. So I grabbed a dot off the sheet. When I went to put it above the tree, it just fell off. So I'm going to show you a tip. Get a tiny little bit of glue and just put it on the end of a pin. When you put the glue on the end of the pin, you can control it a lot more, and then just dot that onto your paper. Then pick up your tiny little gold sticker on a pin as well and just put it in place. Now here's another tip. If you don't have any O-rings, you know, the little round jewelry findings, don't worry, you don't need the pliers and all that stuff. Just use these little bulb pins. This one here, I just pierced it through the paper and hung a little paper sticker charm on the end. And to make the little sticker charm, all you need is a sheet of these stickers. Stick, say this Christmas tree, stick it on a piece of cardstock, like this one's green with a gold sticker. Just stick it on the cardstock and then cut around the edge of it. I then put it on my little pin and just pierce the pin through the label. Now, it wouldn't be right if we didn't make some tags. Now, if you haven't seen my clear tag templates before, or you've got some, you'll be able to use them to make this one. They come in a set of 4 sizes, and I'm going to use the 2 smallest sizes to make this tag. So what I've done is, when I first cut out my tags, I cut them out using the very outside line. This time I cut that line away, so I cut it out on the inside line. So my tag is a little bit smaller. Then I used the smallest clear template and cut off the top to make it a tag shape. Then I was about to cut my tag shape out, and when I put this on my template, I realized it fit perfectly. So that was a happy accident. So all I have to do now is put the second smallest tag on a piece of cardstock, and I use the template to cut out my tag shape. So with my craft knife, I use my template as a ruler and cut straight out. And all I have to do now is glue my tag on top of my bottom tag, but I'm going to glue my string in between the two. So if you've got my clear tag templates, this will be an easy one for you. Otherwise, you've just got to cut out a tag shape yourself. This one, we're going to use the candy cane butcher's twine as an embellishment. I really like this one. It is quick and easy to do. I'm using the 𝗶𝗍 art glue, and I'm going to run a very thin line of glue around the edge of the label. Now, I'm not going to put it all the way around because this glue dries really quick and it will dry before I get to the end. So I'm only putting it around in part. Then I lay the butcher's twine on top of that glue and gently press it down. I use my tweezers to go around the corner and then add a little bit more glue. Lay the butcher's twine down over the glue again, add some more glue, and then finish off with the butcher's twine. And when I get back to the start, I'll just cut that off and gently pat it down. You don't have to press it down with a bone folder or your fingers or anything. It just catches on. This 𝗶𝗍 art glue is industrial strength. It will not come off. And I think these look adorable. So here's just one idea how you could use it. You could just add it as a cluster style hanging tag. You can use a bulb pin, or you could use one of these little 𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗁𝗁 chain locket clips. I love Christmas time, and tomorrow we're going to be making these little ornament style Christmas trees. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 2 when we'll be making these gorgeous little trees.